Welcome to Legion Builds, where I guide you on how to bring your favorite characters into Dungeons & Dragons. This video and all my content is brought to you by my Patreon supporters. You're all awesome and it's all for you. Become a supporter today for just $1 and vote for the next video release. Receive a monthly homebrewed magic item, character sheets for this character and more, with more benefits coming soon. Right now on patreon.com/63rd Legion, it's time to vote on the next character. It's a Marvel Comics showdown with Beast, Blade, Taskmaster, or Ghost Rider up for grabs. This video is also dedicated to all who subscribe to my channel. I wouldn't do any of this without you guys. Seriously, thank you. Today we're building someone that was supposed to have hit the channel back in Halloween with his siblings, but I didn't want to do it. From Resident Evil Village, Karl Heisenberg. If any of you are wondering why I didn't want to do it, I don't actually like how Resident Evil games play. I absolutely love the stories, hate playing them. If you have watched this channel enough, I'm pretty sure you can guess fighting games and stealth games are my preferred entertainment. Anyway, Heisenberg is the delinquent adopted son of Mother Miranda, prophet of the Black God. By adopted, I mean kidnapped, experimented on, and attempted brainwashing. Didn't take, and now Heisenberg is really mad, which is an understatement. Like his siblings, once implanted with the Kadu parasite, Heisenberg developed amazing abilities, but unlike his siblings, he developed no poor side effects. I know what you're thinking, Lady D has no poor side effects. She's over 9 feet tall and weighs over 300 pounds. You have any idea what that means for basic living? Seriously, she would have had to reinforce all furniture in her house to keep it from being crushed. Not to mention her mutation has also mutated her genetic disorder, which made living so much harder for her. Nope, Heisenberg was the perfect host for the parasite, and probably one of the most powerful lords. Well, he was the most powerful, but let's face it, Donna's powers just made her a lot scarier than Heisenberg. Heisenberg developed organs similar to an electric eel, but while the eel stuns with these organs, Heisenberg can use them to manipulate electromagnetic fields. By flexing a muscle, Heisenberg can move metal with ease. But it would seem he's no Magneto, as his power does seem to have its limitation based on his overall muscle mass. Though these limitations are voided when he transforms, but dear gods, we'll get to that later. Heisenberg also has a genius-level intellect, which combined with Mother Miranda's notes on the Kadu, he was able to create his own army of cyber undead. Yeah, I totally get why so many people want to see Heisenberg brought into D&D. Seriously, I got a lot of when is Heisenberg coming. Heads up, we can't actually duplicate his powers, but we can simulate them. We'll get to that in a second. For today's build, we'll be using the Player's Handbook and Xanathar's Guide to Everything. We're also pulling a few things from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, but not enough that I'll actually want to list it in the books. We're using standard point array to make this easier for you should you use a different system. And we are multi-classing, but they use the same stat, so who cares? We'll start things off with strength at 15. You seem to be in decent shape and your powers help you lift massive metal objects with ease. Charisma will follow at 14. You are not likable in the slightest, but most people are afraid of you. Intelligence is coming in at 13. You do understand how to use the Kadu to create your own army, but let's be honest, the parasite does most of the work. Moreau created a more powerful Lycan by just randomly doing stuff. He didn't even understand what he did. Dex will be 12. As already stated, you're in decent shape, but you don't seem overly agile, especially carrying a giant hammer. Con is going to be low with a 10. You live in filth and smoke, and we're going to be dumping wisdom. You have horrible impulse control and can't read the room. Let's face the facts with this one. You had the edge. All you needed was Ethan's help, and then you and your army could have taken out Miranda. But no. You got overexcited and told the overly devoted father you wanted to turn his baby girl into a weapon. Smooth, bro. Really smooth. Heisenberg is a human who has been enhanced by Mother Miranda. Custom lineage will work pretty well. This gives you a free feat and skill with your stat improvement. If you would rather him be a different lineage, don't worry, the feat for this is not important. I just felt like nothing else worked. plays +2 into Charisma. For your feat, Crusher adds +1 to your strength and improves bludgeoning damage. Now, once per turn, when you hit with a weapon that deals bludgeoning damage, you can move the creature 5 feet in any direction as long as they are no more than one size larger than you. When you score a critical hit against a creature, you knock the wind out of them, and now attack rolls against them till the start of your next turn are at advantage. For your free skills, grab Athletics. For background, we need to take Arcana and Investigation. If you've watched my other Resident Evil builds, then you know where we're starting out. Level 1 Warlocks start off with 2 skills. You'll need Deception and Intimidation to keep people from asking too many questions about what you're really up to. You also have an otherworldly patron. Much like Lady D, Hexblade found in Xanathar's works very well for you. Hexblade's Curse lets you curse a target within 30 feet of you with a bonus action for 1 minute. While cursed, each time you damage them, you deal an extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus. You crit on 19 or 20, and when they die, you regain hit points equal to your Charisma plus Warlock level. You can use this feature once per short or long rest. Hex Warrior grants you proficiency in all martial weapons, shields, and medium armor. It also lets you bond with a weapon that lacks the two-handed property. Once bonded, you can use your Charisma modifier for the weapon instead of Strength or Dex. Little bit of sad news. Your hammer is going to be a two-handed weapon, so this will not work for you. Unless you replace your maul with a warhammer, I'm not going to fault you for that one. It actually would be a much better deal, and I'll explain at the end of the build. Pact Magic makes you a false spellcaster. You have limited spell slots, but get them back at the end of a short or long rest, and empower them to the highest level you have access to. Starting out, you have 2 cantrips and 2 spells. For your spells, Mage Hand allows you to move an object within 30 feet of you that weighs no more than 10 pounds. This will be how we'll replicate your powers. Instead of magnetism, we're going with telekinesis. Though nothing is stopping you from playing a character that can only move metal. Booming Blade charges your weapon with magnetic force to deal more damage. When you hit a creature with a melee attack within 5 feet of you, the creature suffers the normal damage but becomes sheathed in energy from the bludgeoning. Should they willingly move 5 feet or more, they take 1d8 thunder damage. Now notice how I said willingly? That means you can't use your Crusher ability with this. Shield adds 5+ to your AC as a reaction. You gain 1 more first level spell, take what you want. Okay, time to jump classes because Warlock lacks a couple spells that we need. Level 1 Sorcerers have a Sorcerer's Origin. Shadow Magic, also found in Xanathar's, fits perfectly for you as we're not going to go too deep into the class. Eyes of Darkness gives you dark vision out to 120 feet. Strength of the Grave makes you harder to kill. If you fall to 0 HP from an attack that doesn't deal radiant damage or is a critical hit, you can make a Charisma saving throw of 5 plus the damage. If you pass, you drop to 1 HP instead. You can do this once per long rest. Spellcasting makes you a true spellcaster. Normally, if you're multi-classing spellcaster, you have to do a little math to figure out how many spell slots you get, but guess what? Warlocks aren't real spellcasters. You now have access to Warlock slots and Sorcerer slots, but you will only get the Sorcerer spell slots back at the end of a long rest. You start off with 4 cantrips and 2 spells. For your spells, Thunderclap lets you strike the ground with your hammer and force a con save on every creature within 5 feet of you. Should they fail, they take 1d6 thunder damage. Message lets you be annoying and send messages to the dude just trying to get his daughter back. You can now speak a message and send it towards someone within 120 feet of you so only they can hear it. Gust forces air to strongly flow in a single direction within 30 feet of you. I know this is an ability you get later on, but you can say you create a fan, go with it. Once casted, you choose an effect to happen. You can force 1 medium or smaller creature to make a strength save, pushing them back 5 feet should they fail. You can create a small burst of air that can move 1 object that weighs no more than 5 pounds up to 10 feet away, or create a just small harmless wind effect. Catapult launches an object up to 5 pounds within 60 feet of you, up to 90 feet in a straight line. If the object hits a creature, they must make a dex save, or take 3d8 bludgeoning damage as the object shatters as it hits them. Magic Missile launches 3 magically created blades at a creature within 120 feet, auto-hitting the creature and dealing 1d4 plus 1 per blade. You get 1 more cantrip, go nuts. Level 2 Warlocks receive Eldritch Invocations. These are special gifts from your patron that grant you new features, or enhance the ones you already have. You gain 2 at this level, and for these, Armor of Shadows lets you cast Mage Armor without a spell slot or components. This gives you an AC of 13 plus Dex for 8 hours, which is better than the trench coat you wear. Remember, as a Hexblade, you have access to light and medium armor, and this is basically a cheap, weightless chain shirt for you. If you'd rather just wear armor, change this out. Undying Servitude lets you start building your undead army. You can now cast Animate Dead once per long rest without a spell slot. This allows you to create one undead servant from a pile of bones or a corpse of one medium or smaller humanoid. They obey you for 24 hours, and then you must recast this to resume control. Or you can just cast this once a day on a different body and give the village a zombie problem. For your new spell, take what you want. Level 3 Warlocks gain a Pact Boon. Pact of the Blade creates any magical weapon you wish as an action. Once created, you can summon the weapon with the action. You can even bond with a magical weapon, turning it into your Pact weapon. You also gain 2nd level spell slots. For your new spell, Hold Person covers a humanoid within 60 feet of you with metal scraps should they fail a wisdom save, and they are now paralyzed for 1 minute as you maintain this spell. At the end of this build, you will be able to paralyze up to 4 humanoids at once. Level 4 Warlocks earn our first ability score improvement. Place this into strength for better attacks and damage. For your new spell, Cloud of Daggers fills the air within 60 feet with jagged metal scraps. The scrap fills a 5-foot cube, and any creature that enters the cube takes 4d4 slashing damage the first time it enters or when it starts within. By the end of this build, this spell will be able to do 10d10 slashing damage. You also get a new cantrip, Go Nuts. Your character level 5 now. Thunderclap now does 2d6 damage, and Booming Blade now does 2d8 thunder damage when the target moves, and will now do an extra d8 of weapon damage when you hit. Level 5 Warlocks gain another invocation. For this invocation, Improved Pact Weapon adds +1 to your Pact Weapon's attack and damage, and turns it into a spellcasting focus for your Warlock spells. You also gain 3rd level spells. Time to create a Soldat. Summon Undead summons an undead minion to your service for 1 hour while you maintain this spell. When you summon this Soldat, you choose its form, ghostly, putrid, or skeletal. Each form has its own abilities such as poisoning, moving through objects, ranged attacks, or frightening. I'll let you decide on how you want to summon them. Level 6 Hexblade Warlocks now have a new undead servant with a Cursed Spectre. Now when you end the life of a humanoid, you can bind their spirit to your service. This undead uses the Spectre stat block found in the Monster Manual, page 279. The Spectre has temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level, obeys your commands, and has a bonus to attack equal to your Charisma modifier. This Spectre stays in your service till you finish a long rest. For your new spell, take what you want. Level 7 Warlocks receive another invocation. For this invocation, Eldritch Smite lets you burn spell slots to charge up your Pact Weapon's attacks. For each level of spell slot burned, you deal an extra 1d8 of force damage, and knock the target prone if they are size huge or smaller. This means at the end of the build, your smite damage will be 5d8s. You also receive 4th level spell slots. For your new spell, Staggering Smite lets you strike an enemy so hard it hurts their brain. Yeah, didn't really have anything to say about this one, it just hurts their brain. When you hit with your hammer, the target takes an additional 4d6 psychic damage and must make a wisdom save. Should they fail the save, they now have disadvantage on attack rolls and skill checks and can't take reactions until the end of its next turn. You must maintain this spell for up to 1 minute, but can drop it once the creature is done with the effect. Level 8 Warlocks earn another ability score improvement. We need a feat though. Warcaster gives you advantage on con saves made to maintain spells, lets you cast spells that use somatic components while holding a weapon in both hands, and when a hostile creature provokes an attack of opportunity, you can now use your reaction to cast a spell instead of an attack. This spell must have a casting time of 1 action and must only target that creature, like Booming Blade. For your new spell, take what you want, we're good right now. Level 9 Warlocks gain another invocation. For your invocation, Ascendant Step lets you cast Levitate without a spell slot or material components. This lets you raise an object or person within 60 feet of you up to 20 feet while you maintain this spell for 10 minutes. The target of the spell can't be more than 500 pounds, and if the target is unwilling, they must make a con save. You can raise or lower the target by 20 feet with an action. Now, when the spell ends, you don't drop them, they just float down. You also gain 5th level spell slots, which is the highest you can have. For your new spell, Hold Monster is an upgraded version of Hold Person, but now this can target any creature that isn't just a humanoid. Level 10 Hexblade Warlocks now have Armor of Hexes. Now when the target of your Hexblade curse attacks you, you can use your reaction to roll a d6. On a 4 or higher, the attack misses regardless of the attack roll. For your new spell, you can now raise multiple undead servants with Dance Macabre. Choosing up to 5 small or medium corpses within 60 feet, you transform them into undead. For 1 hour while you maintain the spell, these undead obey your orders. After 1 hour, or if this spell ends, the undead return to be inanimate bodies. You also gain your final cantrip, Have Fun Choosing. You are now character level 11. Thunderclap now does 3d6 thunder damage, and Booming Blade now does an extra 2d8 damage with your weapon and does 3d8 thunder damage when the target moves. Level 11 Warlocks gain their first Mystic Arcanum. These are free spells at 6th level or higher that you can cast without a spell slot once per long rest. For this Arcanum, Create Undead is similar to Animate Dead. You can choose up to 3 corpses within 10 feet of you. These corpses will now become ghouls. For 24 hours they will obey your command, but after that you must recast the spell to resume control. This spell has a downside to it. It costs 150 gold per ghoul each casting. So once more, just place them somewhere for the good guy to find and have fun with. For a new spell, take what you want. Level 12 Warlocks earn another ability score improvement. Place this into Charisma for better spell DC. You also earn another invocation. For this invocation, Thirsting Blade lets you attack twice with a single action with your packed weapon. Level 13 Warlocks receive another Mystic Arcanum, now at 7th level. For this Arcanum, Finger of Death allows you to create a permanent undead servant. Targeting a creature within 60 feet, you force a con save, causing 7d8 plus 30 necrotic damage. Should the target die, they become an undead zombie under your total control. For your new spell, Have Fun Choosing, we have all you need. Level 14 Hexblade Warlocks now have Master of Hexes. You can now move your Hexblade curse to another target within 30 feet when the original target dies, but if you do this, you will not regain hit points when that creature dies. Level 15 Warlocks gain yet another Mystic Arcanum, this one at 8th level. Still not the one we want. Yeah, we're building towards something. For this one, choose what you want, none of them really work for you. You also gain a new invocation, and well, this lets you customize. Choose what you want. And finally, for your new spell, once more, customize. This whole level, nothing fits with you, so have fun and change it up. Level 16 Warlocks earn another ability score improvement. Cap off strength for a 20. Your character level 17 now. Thunderclap does 4d6 thunder damage, and Booming Blade does 3d8 extra weapon damage and 4d8 thunder damage when the target moves. Level 17 Warlocks receive their final Arcanum, and this is it. Boss battle time. Choosing a 9th level spell, you want True Polymorph. True Polymorph lets you change into a creature of CR equal to your current character level, which is 18. For 1 hour while you maintain the spell, you assume a new form, gaining its stats, health, actions, and abilities. If you are still in this form at the end of the spell, the transformation becomes permanent. Should you drop to 0 HP in this form, you return to your true form at health you were at before transforming, and then take excess damage that is left over. Now let's talk about your boss form. You are a slug. Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you, you're a slug. Some of you are probably screaming right now, but Gonzo, he turns into a giant killing machine. No, he does not. A careful inspection of this form reveals Heisenberg becomes an almost formless mass of flesh, but this form comes with a massive improvement. Since it's his muscles that control his powers, and now his muscles are the size of a house, this means his magnetic abilities are so powerful he can form mechanical armor around himself or move objects with such speed he can create tornado force winds, roughly 300 miles an hour. So let's talk about an option here. Due to the size and strength, I would suggest a giant of some kind. Personally, I would go with a fire giant dreadnought, which brings your AC to 21. You gain a shield attack that does 4d6 plus 8 plus 4d6 damage of multiple types. You can charge forward, causing a DC 21 strength save, or cause 3d6 damage should they fail. More if they are prone. But there are more monsters than just Wizards of the Coast offers. If your table uses companies like Kobold Press, which they should, they are amazing. I can literally run a game with no Wizards of the Coast monsters and my players are both excited and terrified. There are plenty of other giant creatures. Have fun. You also gain a new spell at this level. Go nuts. Level 18 Warlocks gain their final invocations, and I could not care less about this one. Take what you want, make this build your own. Our final level is level 19 Warlock, and you gain our final ability score improvement, Cap Off Charisma. For your final spell, take what you want and have some fun. Now that we've hit level 20, let's recap. Your stats are Strength 20, Dex 12, Con 10, Intelligence 13, Wisdom 8, Charisma 20. Your total levels are Warlock 19, Sorcerer 1. Let's dive in. This one is good all around, so let's just list things off here. You can create undead fighters to be damage sponges. Your giant hammer can deal 2d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage, plus 5d8 force damage, and it's magical. You also have a cantrip that causes that hammer to deal an extra 3d8 damage, and then 4d8 thunder damage on top of that. You can hold targets, paralyze them, move objects with your mind, and finally you can transform into a giant metal-covered monster. Downside. Firstly, you have limited resources. You only have 4 Warlock spell slots, which are at 5th level, and 2 Sorcerer slots at 1st level. You also have several abilities that are once per long rest. You have a lot of concentration spells, but that's normal for a caster. Finally, you also don't want to get hit. Your AC is only 14, and your total health, taking the average, you just hit over 100. There is actually a way to fix this, and it's really simple. So simple, you can still use standard point array. This is what I mentioned earlier with your hammer. Do not take a maul as your packed weapon. Instead, take a warhammer. By doing this, you can bond with it using Hex Warrior. So now strength is not important. All the stat improvements you placed into strength are now free to place into Dex or Con. You can even take tough to boost your total health. I did this using a maul because that's what you have in the video game, but frankly I think the giant hammer is just for show. You used it once and that was just to scare someone. Though at this point we all know Heisenberg was all about looking cool. Send out the zombies to absorb damage and then unleash your fury onto those who have crossed you. But try to read the room a little bit, or the guy you made angry might have a boulder punching friend with a lot of bombs. Thank you for joining me again. I release a new character every week on YouTube and Spotify, so make sure to like and subscribe to not miss a single new build. Over on Patreon, you can help decide next week's first character. And I've already said it, but we're having a Marvel Comics fight right now. Help choose between Beast, Blade, Taskmaster, or the Ghost Rider.